Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video, and as you saw from the thumbnail, I was wrong, and from what we're seeing right now, it seems like the whole Wukong situation is not the Series S's problem at all, and Microsoft has come out and made that statement. Now, they haven't fully divulged into saying officially that this is an official actual exclusivity play by Sony, but the bottom line is, at the end of the day, that is what it's looking like, and it looks like, I'll take the L where I deserve it, and at the end of the day, I was wrong. I believe that the Series S RAM was the main issue. The fact that they can even get it working on 8 gigabytes of memory is a miracle in itself, so good job to Game Science for that one in itself. But the reality is, all this talk about the Series S being wrong, and even Game Science coming out and saying that there was optimization problems, which essentially means that hardware limitations are causing the issue. Game Science were lying as well. Now, why was Game Science lying is unknown, but somewhere along the line, things don't seem to be adding up. And well, in this video, we're gonna go over a little bit of that, but things are a little weird. But you know what? Weird is what we like to do, so let's get on with it. Alright, before we actually do go into that, a little bit of news, because it looks like Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection and Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is heading to Xbox in 2025. Microsoft and Capcom have finally managed to find a solution for this, and hopefully we'll see the other games coming over to the platform soon. Now, of course, IGN really had no shame concerning Concord. They knew how bad this game actually was, but they decided that they were going to big this up like no tomorrow. Over the course of the beta weekend, Concord was already shaping up to be a heavyweight hero shooter, which could easily see competing with the genre's giants. 11 days later, it is gone. So GG with that one, IGN, showing your bias once again. But it's here that we finally get to the meat of the crux of the video. I just wanted to add that little bit in there because I think, having something there, because I didn't really want to make a full video on those. But this is essentially really big because Microsoft confirms Black Myth Wukong delay is not due to platform limitations, comments on exclusivity. And if we're looking at this over here, right, it says, the statement reads, as we have said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We'd prefer not to comment on deals made by our partners with other platform holders. Now that is pretty much the blanket statement that they made previously, but now they've added a little bit more context. But we can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us. So basically, the whole Xbox Series S limitation for Black Myth Wukong is actually not a thing. That's not the optimization issues that they're having that Game Science has been talking about. It's clear here that there is now officially money hatting going on. And I know some people are going to get really upset about this, and I'll take my L where it is. I was on the full-on bandwagon that this was clearly a Series S issue. It is not. And, I was wrong. I will openly admit that. I told you all that if this comes out to be not the RAM limitations on the Series S, I will admit I was wrong. And I'm not, ashamed to do that. This statement reinforces my earlier reporting that the issue with Black Myth Wukong's delay release on Xbox is not technical in nature and not because of some issue with the Series S, as many have speculated, as Microsoft is now saying outright. But we can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us. Now we see here over here, Eurogamer is also and Digital Foundry have also chimed in, and they now corroborate on Black Myth Wukong exclusivity deal. Well, the truth is that exclusivity deals can take many shapes and forms and don't necessarily need to include marketing. And if it doesn't include marketing, Sony can't sing this from the higher heavens. All they can do is sit there silently and enjoying the fact that they've restricted another game off their rival platform and making them sweat, all while taking all of their games and, enjoying that goodness as well. So we have over here, Clarke Osborne, Black Myth Wukong was money hatted by PlayStation to stay off Xbox. Slimy platform things, which is a quote by Phil Spencer. Now, I don't think you should be quoting Phil Spencer here, because I'm about to get quite cynical and critical with Phil Spencer, so be ready for it. Black Myth Wukong, Xbox delay. This is the statement that we've just read. This is Paul Tassi finally reaching out to a Microsoft spokesperson and them getting back to them with the whole, the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations, and that is all great. Now, this is what I said with my tweet, obviously. So Sony did money hat, and I take my L. I was wrong. Shame on Sony, but even more so, shame on Xbox for porting games and then accepting third-party games being skipped on their platform. Now, I totally understand why Microsoft is porting games, and I totally understand why they're doing this, but if your rival platform in PlayStation, and they are your rival platform, is doing everything it can in order to prevent your users from playing games, Phil Spencer constantly says, when everyone wins, when everyone's gaming, we all win. And at the same time, when he said, when more people are playing, that should be the most important thing. But unfortunately, when it comes to PlayStation, that is not the end game. PlayStation wants all the PlayStation games, all the third-party games, and all the Xbox games, while Xbox gamers get nothing. And I'm sorry, at this point in time, Phil needs to either change the way he's actually communicating this message or just shut the hell up. It's really that simple. Because if he's going to toe that company line, no one wants to hear it at the end of the day, because it's just going to enrage people even more. The bottom line here is, the more he talks about when everyone plays, we all win. No, when everyone plays, Xbox gamers lose. Because at the end of the day, when you are allowing Sony to go and money hack games right underneath your nose and you are doing absolutely nothing about it, and your response to that is, hey Sony, here's Gears of War. Hey Sony, here's Halo. This should combat your money hatting needs. That's not how this works. Right? That is not how this works. Now, I was totally wrong with this. I genuinely thought it was the Series S's memory limitations that is actually doing this. I actually want to see this running on the Series S. In fact, I will buy this on Xbox just so I can see how this runs on the Series S, because I am genuinely curious to see how this runs. But the reality is, there is no hardware limitation for this. So the Series S goes out the way. That leaves one solution, one resolution to this, and that is that the game was money hatted by Sony. And Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, Satya Nadella, they all know this. And instead of actually, fighting back and saying, look, Sony, if this is how you're going to be, we are going to get upset. And if we get upset, you won't like it. Because when we open the cash book, that's when things will change. We can money hack every single thing we want. Now there's rumors that apparently PlayStation has claimed the GTA 6 marketing rights. That doesn't mean that the game isn't going to Xbox, by the way. I'm just saying they've claimed the marketing rights. That's a huge loss if that is the case. But Microsoft is doing absolutely nothing in return to give a response. What their response is, hey, I can see you've money hatted Wukong right now, so in response, I'm going to offer you Forza Horizon 5. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, I've sat on the sidelines and I've been talking about this in my streams. I've been talking about this to people in my Discord, and in the grand scheme of things, no matter what I say here is unlikely going to change anything. What we really need is a massive revolt like we saw with the original PSN situation that happened with Helldivers 2 when it first got introduced and all those players became unable to play. You need that level of a response before you force the hand of a company like Microsoft in order to make a response and come out and say something. I just don't think the Xbox community has it in them to make that sort of a response. But Microsoft's response to Sony money-hatting them, and do you know what? I don't blame Sony for this. Sony is looking out for their core audience, their core customers. They're looking out for number one. They're making sure that no one goes to the Xbox platform to play games. They're making sure that if you want to play the best games, you go to PlayStation. Because at the end of the day, based on the way Microsoft is working with everything, those games are going over. Doom is going day one and day and day. You've got Indiana Jones going in 3 months, right? Hellblade is probably months away from going. There's already news that Forza Horizon is going. So why should Sony give any crap about Microsoft at this point? Instead, all they're going to do is continue to money hat, and Microsoft is doing absolutely nothing about it. Wukong should be the final straw. For Microsoft, this should be the final straw. You've got Eurogamer, you've got Digital Foundry, you've got Paul Tassi, who's spoken to Microsoft, and Microsoft's own PR saying that we can confirm the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us. This is essentially telling you that there is a problem there. I don't know. I think this is awful. I think this is way, this is like completely just not right. And if you're just looking at the comments, I think Xbox being vocal about it is them not accepting this as okay going forward. But if you don't do anything about it, you're not actually doing anything that can hurt them, and that's what you want to do. You want to just ever so slightly just nudge them to let them know that if you continue down this path, we will retaliate. And I get it, one turn deserves another. The third-party exclusivity walls are falling. Genshin, Atelier, Final Fantasy, and Sony is now clutching onto the smaller devs who have leverage over. Should be interesting. But those smaller devs are still releasing games that people want to play, right? That's the problem. And that needs to stop. Whoomp, there it is. And there it is, right? So at the end of the day, this kind of thing is getting silly, and Microsoft just needs to start to sort their shit out. But folks, that is basically all I have for you for today. I will take my L. It wasn't the Series S, but now at this point, I am seeing more and more people asking Phil to stand down. I am seeing more and more people asking Sarah Bond to stand down, and I don't blame them at this point. I don't. Because while Microsoft is perfectly happy giving games away to PlayStation, they're getting nothing in return. Xbox gamers are getting nothing in return. No games from PlayStation at all. And before anyone comes out with MLB and Destiny, MLB is a licensing thing from MLB. They pretty much forced Sony to do it, or they take the license away from Sony. Sony have officially and said publicly that if it wasn't for the MLB license that actually was in place and MLB actually forcing them, they would not be releasing this game on Xbox. And Destiny was a pre-existing game anyway. They can't really take that away. I mean, it's dying anyway, so it's going to take itself away. But you're not going to see another PlayStation game coming over to Xbox. And by this point, considering Microsoft has already pushed 4 games, they've already announced Indiana Jones and Doom 0 or After Years, whatever it's called. Something in return, Microsoft, for your consumers? You're treating them like third-class citizens, and that's not it. The time for being patient and whatnot is over. And now with games like Wukong, whether people like it or not is totally irrelevant. The bottom line is, Sony is making every single attempt to restrict your gamers from missing out on games. And your response right now is to give them more games. How are you putting your consumers first? How are you putting Xbox at the core of the platform? How are you putting your gamers at the core of the experience? Because I ain't seeing that, Phil, and I'm not seeing that, Sarah. You need to fix this. You need to change, and you need to remind people that at the end of the day, if you want to poke the bear, what you will get is a very angry bear. The regulators can't do anything to third-party contracts. If they could, they'd be doing something to Sony. So clearly there's a legislation there that it's fair trading, right? It's competition, right? If Sony go and offers $10 to get the exclusivity, you can go and offer $15. You are a $1 trillion company, multi-trillion-dollar company compared to a multi-billion-dollar company. And you are still getting bullied by a multi-billion-dollar company. If you got these exclusives, maybe things would change for Xbox, but you're not getting them. You're allowing other platforms to get them. Anyway, I could ramble on all I want, but the reality is Black Myth Wukong was money-hatted by Sony. I was wrong. I apologize for that. I'll take my L happily. But, Phil, Sarah, Matt, you need to do something about this and make the relevant changes, because this isn't it. And at the end of the day, Xbox gamers, they deserve better. They deserve way better than you're giving. And honestly, if you're not prepared to do it, at least come out and tell them that you're not prepared to give them better, so they can, make the informed decision. I know they've got their, libraries and stuff, but this is just wrong. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, folks. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I do read your comments. I may not respond to all of them, but I do read them. Until next time, remain legend.